Welcome to All About Videography. My name is Dor Levi. In this video, I will introduce you to the very unique RGB COB video light. So this is the Sutefoto P80 RGB light. It looks like the Sakoni X60 and the Ambitful FL80, but it is not. This one is also an RGB light with 10 effects. Last year, I reviewed an RGB bow and mount light, which got me very excited. At that time, it was the only bow and mount RGB light in the market that was small and relatively inexpensive. But the build quality was not right there. It was all plastic made, and besides the build quality, it had other drawbacks. This Sutefoto P80 is much more. It's almost perfect. Build quality is superb. If you saw my Sakoni X60 review, you would know what I'm talking about. It is all thick metal, and that includes the yoke. It has a rosette locking mechanism, which is the industry standard. Size-wise, it is about half an inch longer than the Sakoni X60 and the Ambitful FL80. Otherwise, physically, it is identical. Now, the most interesting part of this light is the LED design. It has 5 rings from the center out: blue, green, red, cold temperature LED, and the last ring is the warm temperature LED. Now, unlike some other lights that have SMD LEDs type, this light has the COB LED type. Just in case you don't know, SMD refers to surface mounting device. A good example will be most of LED panels. COB refers to chip onboard packaging. Now, the difference between the SMD and the COB is that the COB is more efficient and has a better light quality. Now, let's talk about the drawbacks of the rings LED designs. When you use the Sutefoto P80 RGB with the provided reflector or any reflector, you will see the halo of the other rings. With the reflector that comes with the light, you will see it even more pronounced because of the diamond texture, which intensify the light. It also creates undesired hotspots in the middle. So to fix that, just use a diffuser or a softbox. Yes, it will cut down the overall output, but regardless, you want to use a diffuser if you plan to use it for talking heads. You can also use the light without a reflector, which will also eliminate the problem. So the more the light is concentrated, more you will see the effect. A good example will be a snoot. Now, the Sutefoto P80 is rated CRI 96+, which is considered to be high quality light, and it has 360 full colors. It is rated 80 watts, just like the Sakoni X60 and the Ambitful FL80. Now, I can tell you that after measuring all lights from the same distance without a reflector, the Sakoni and the Ambitful came on top with 850 lux when the temperature was fixed to 5600K, compared to the Sutefoto 7600 lux when the temperature was dialed to 10,000K. 10,000K is where I was able to get the max from the Sutefoto RGB light. So the Sakoni and the Ambitful is about 10% brighter. Now, on 5600K, I got 6950 lux, and on 3200K, I got 5650 lux. So the overall intensity drops by over 10% in 3200K. By the way, the bicolor mode range is from 2800K to 10,000K, which is pretty wide range. But let's see what kind of results are we getting with a small softbox in 3200K, 5600K, and 10,000K from 5 feet away. But if you want to get the max output from the Sutefoto, you will have to use it in 10,000K, which could be a disaster if your background is in 3200K. If you use it for interviews in a controlled environment, then you should not have any problems. Now let's talk about the Sutefoto functionality. So again, it has a 360 color spectrums. In the HSI mode, you can control the hue, saturation, and intensity. In the RGB CW mode, you have the separation of the RGB, which means you can adjust individually the red, green, and blue. In the same mode, you can also adjust the warmth of the colors. It has two functions, more warm and less warm. More warm means you dial up or down the warm LED, and less warm means you dial up or down the cold LED. In this mode, you cannot change the intensity. Now, I was very surprised to find green to magenta compensation. Until now, you could only see it in more expensive lights. So what is it good for? You can correct the light color in the CCT mode when the LED color shifts to magenta or green with this function. With that said, I cannot legitimize this function since I don't have this $1,000 light color meter. Maybe in the future when I have much more subscribers. Now, if I was not straightforward enough, then hit the subscribe button to see more content like this one. Moving on, let's go over the back panel. Let's start with the on-off push switch. This switch has some delay to it. It takes about 3.5 seconds, even 4 seconds for the lights to turn on. You will need to press and hold until it is turning on. Now the Sakoni and the Ambitful have the butterfly type of a switch, which is much more convenient. I'm assuming they decide to use a press in button due to a lack of space. Then we have the channel groups button. It has 12 channels and 6 groups, A through F. Each press will toggle between the channels and groups. To go through the channels and groups, use the set dial. Next we have the dimmer, which is also toggles between the modes. To toggle between the modes, you will need to press the dial. The dimmer dims 1 through 100, and I can confirm it has a full range. Some lights have a fixed intensity from 1 to 10. This one changes the intensity of each of the increments. Next is the set button, which toggles between the parameters on each mode and also adjusts the parameters. Now forget about the back panel, just use the app. This LED RGB light app is probably the smoothest app I ever used. Connecting the app to the light is effortless. Turn on the light, then on your phone, turn on your Bluetooth and the location, and you are good to go. On the first page on the app is the CCT. Over here you will find a slider for intensity, color temperature, and the green magenta compensation. The next page is the HSI. Here you can go through all the colors spectrum by sliding your finger on the color circle, or you can be precise by entering a specific parameter by clicking on the hue or saturation box. In this mode, you can also adjust the intensity. The next page is the RGB COB. As I mentioned before, here you can adjust separately the red, green, and blue, as well as the warm LED chip and the cold LED chip. What you cannot do here is adjust the intensity. Next page is the effects. At the top of the page you have all the effects. Just scroll to the right or left to go through the effects. There are 10 effects: lighting, police, fire truck, ambulance, fire, fireworks, float bulb, TV, RGB circle, and paparazzi. Underneath there is a slider for frequency and a slider for intensity. At the top of the app is where you can see the groups and channels. And if you have other products from Sutefoto, you will be able to see them here and switch between the lights from here as well. Again, the app is great, much better than using a remote control. Things that I don't like. I'm not too fond of the power plug location. It is at the bottom, very easy for the power supply plug to disconnect. This is bringing me to another things I don't like, the power supply. First off, I wish it had a longer cable. And the worst part, there is no way to hang the power supply to a stand like the Godox ML60 for example. This is crucial with the light with a power supply plug at the bottom of the light. I'll definitely need to rig something to hang the power supply to a stand. They do provide some Velcro to rig the power supply, but it's definitely not the Godox style power supply mount. And as you can see, it does not do the best job. By the way, you can also power the light with an external battery using the Sutefoto adapter. It works with 2 Sony batteries and it holds for about 2 hours in full intensity. The original Sakoni X60 had jet noise from the fan in version 1. In version 2, they replaced the fan with a much quieter fan. Since then, all the rebranded Sakoni have the same quiet fan. So the same things applies to the Sutefoto. Fan noise is not an issue with this light. One more test that I did was flickering, and I got none. I think at this point of technology, any video light will pass the flickering test. 2 years ago was an issue, but I don't think it is an issue anymore, just like most or even all LED video lights are over 93 CRI with a minimal green and magenta color shift at this point. The Sutefoto comes in a nice padded case, the same case as the Sakoni X60. As you can see, the Sutefoto carrying bag is a bit narrower compared to the Sakoni X60 carrying bag, but they were able to squeeze everything into the carrying bag. In this case, you will find a reflector and a power supply. Now, if you want to see a detailed video on the build quality of the light and the carrying case, you can see the original video I reviewed to the Sakoni X60 version 1. I will leave a link below in the description. Bottom line, the Sutefoto is not a perfect light, but it could be perfect in many cases. For me, the number one thing that attracts me the most to the Sutefoto P80 is the app. Pairing with the phone is easy, it never fails to pair. The halo could be a problem for some, but as you can see, there is a way to overcome it with some sort of a diffuser. Now, a standard bow and mount is a huge plus. Let me give you an example. Last week, I flew to Virginia to film a testimonial video. I took with me the Godox ML60 lights, one reflector with a diffuser, and a small softbox. Now, the Godox ML60 has a proprietary bow and mount. It works the same as a standard bow and mount, but it is smaller. If you want to attach a standard bow and mount softbox, you will need an adapter. Now, I forgot to bring the adapter with me, so I could not use a softbox for this shoot. So a standard bow and mount on a small light as this one is huge. So that's about it. I hope you find this video informative. If you did, please click the like button and also consider subscribing to this channel. Now, if you can leave a comment, it will help a lot for this video to be noticeable by YouTube algorithm. Any comments will be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.